Hello everyone and welcome to week 4. We're now on the home stretch and you just have 2 more weeks to go. A few quick reviews from last week. On the developing survey questionnaire, I asked you to respond to 2 classmates' answers, and in your response you were supposed to answer these 5 questions. A lot of you only got partial credit on this because you didn't actually answer the 5 questions in your responses. I saw a lot of kind of generic, this is good type comments, but there wasn't a lot of constructive criticism that I was looking for. So if you're wondering why you didn't get full credit, that is why. I am working on grading your rough draft of your final project summary. It's going to take me a few days because I'm going to give you a lot of feedback to help you in working on your final draft, which is due at the end of the course. When I get it graded, I'll post a document with track changes and comments in words. Please take the time to review these carefully and make sure to make the suggested changes. You will get points off the final paper if you haven't made all of the changes that I suggested. I've also graded everything from chapter 6. It's really important that you go over that and review that before starting this week's course, because a lot of the information this week will build on that information when we start looking at repeated measures, which are experiments in which each participant gets multiple levels of the independent variables, and complex designs, which have multiple independent variables. So that's what we'll be covering this week. In the repeated measures design for Chapter 8, you'll have one assignment that has 2 examples that you'll need to answer questions about. For Chapter 9, in complex designs, it's a really challenging chapter. So there's a bit of data manipulation that you're going to need to do in looking at main effects and interactions. There are some really great practice exercises to help you with this on page 252 of your book. I strongly encourage you to do these as practice, and I've posted an answer key right here for you to do those on your own. So you'll want to answer these 5 questions for each of the examples. Also for Chapter 9, there's a short reading, the Bolduc and Demand reading, and then there are some questions to answer about that. And then there's another example with questions in the complex designs assignment. So interaction effects are tricky, so I'd encourage you to start early and get lots of practice in this, and be sure to ask questions on the help forum if there are things you don't understand. And then the final thing for this week is your final project follow-up proposal. So what you're going to need to do is propose a follow-up. So this is, of course, your final project assignment. For this section, you're going to need to propose a follow-up study to the study you summarized last week. The follow-up study should add something new to what we know. This can include adding new independent or dependent variables or controlling for some confounding variable. It's important to note that this should not just replicate previous findings. You need to hypothesize something different. Also be sure that your follow-up study answers these questions. So your description should include what construct you will study and how it's operationally defined, what your hypotheses will be. It will describe the methods, including describing whether it's an independent groups, repeated measures, or complex experimental design, telling me what the independent and dependent variables are and the levels of each, and telling me how groups will be assigned. And then based on that, you'll need to talk about what types of analyses will be conducted and what you'd expect to find in the results if this study were actually conducted. So basically what I'm looking for in your results are for you to describe it in terms of your independent and dependent variables. And then lastly, what is the importance of the study? What new information does it add beyond the previous study? So that's all for this week. I hope you have a great week, and please contact me if you have questions.